on a wide, sinuous, brownish river, surrounded by lush green jungle. The year our story plays is 2016, nearing the end of November. 2 motorized canoes carrying 6 people went up against a gently flowing stream. The canoes zigzagged between low-hanging, overarching branches of the jungle. 3 men were of an indigenous Colombian Arawak tribe. The other 3...
Glad we caught dry weather today. Look at the blue skies.
Bianca Zoe, 29 years old, was the only woman in this party of 6. Having just received her Master of Science degree from the University of New England, Armidale, New South Wales, Australia, she planned to apply for a PhD candidature. But first she had jumped to this opportunity to explore this newly accessible piece of the world, here in the heart of this Colombian Amazon jungle.
You mean there would be more left after yesterday's rain?
Bianca had found her scientific partner in Tom Sylvester, a 33-year-old student from Stanford University, California, USA.
Hey, you have no idea clearly.
Augustin Gus Sanchez Rojas, also Colombian, but clearly not of the same tribe as the other 3. He was 24 years old and mastering languages in Bogota, the capital of Colombia. Among those languages were those of his country's own indigenous languages, which made him a valuable asset to Bianca's team as their guide and translator. All dressed in light-colored and loose-fitting clothes, long pants, long-sleeve shirts, and high-rubber boots, they were dressed for the warm, humid, tropical weather, protected from mosquitoes. Only Tom had his sleeves rolled up, and he spotted a mosquito landing on his arm. He slapped his arm, but the mosquito had already taken flight before his hand landed.
Told you. Better roll down your sleeves.
It's too hot.
From a wealthy family, Tom had responded to Bianca's call for his expedition on her social media account. He had made the offer to fund their expedition, which Bianca had welcomed under the agreement that this would be purely scientific, nothing personal. But one can always hope, Tom had thought. He knew better now and slightly regretted his offer. Here, in this wet, hot country, he longed for his air-conditioned condo in California. The banks of the river were thick with jungle, no places to get out and move into the jungle. They continued up the river, nearing a small island in the middle. Tom noticed 4 1-meter-long caiman crocodiles sunbathing. When one of them crawled towards the water, sliding in, he spotted a 5th, already in the water.
Should we worry about those caimans?
Not if you don't dangle your arms in the water. And then, I would worry more about the piranhas.
Come on, Thomas. We've been over this. Those caimans are likely just going into the water as a precaution to our presence. They'll just let us pass if we keep our distance. Enjoy the view. I actually think these are Crocodilus apoporiensis, a rare treat, Tom.
Thomas didn't respond, but kept his eyes locked on the 2 shapes sliding in their direction, turning around with them as they passed by, as if they were chasing them. But as they moved on, they stopped the chase, and he saw them return to their island. Then Bianca spotted a location on the right where they could get ashore. She turned to look at Augustin on the other canoe.
Agustin, look! Over there! Can we get ashore there?
Kino, there's a tribe located there, which we are not allowed to visit. Risk of the flu. A bit further is a spot I had in mind, just around the corner, on the other side of the river.
As they round the bend of the river, Augustin saw the spot and pointed it out to Bianca.
There!
Perfect!
Augustin pointed again at the location on the left bank a bit further along, and shouted something in the Arawakan language of the indigenous men from both canoes to hear. Both canoes set course for the bank, where they could get ashore. A short moment later, the canoes slid onto the banks, which consisted mostly of branches and vines. Bianca jumped out with agility, reaching back to grab her dark green backpack from the front of the boat, throwing it over her shoulders. Thomas took his time, slowly stepping out of the other boat, holding on to the sides to keep his balance. 2 of the indigenous men dragged the canoes onto the banks, while Thomas and Bianca waited, listening to Augustin talk to the other free man in his Arawakan language, discussing something seemingly not agreeing, until finally, Augustin gave up, turning towards Thomas and Bianca.
He says they won't come with us. I don't fully understand his reasoning. Seems superstitious, bogus to me. But let's go. We'll have to find our way back to these canoes anyway.
What guarantee do we have they won't leave us here?
They won't. Come on, let's go.
Augustin led the way into the jungle, every step either crunching or sloshing under his feet from old twigs and branches and mossy parts. Thomas looked down with uncertainty as one of his boots seemed to sink into the floor. But it wasn't more than the ground being springy, elastic, water gathering around his boots. He quickly took a second step onto more solid ground. Augustin hacked his way through a patch with a big machete he had taken from his backpack, chopping 2 bits away before he walked on. Thomas shot Bianca a quick look, seeing her putting light leather gloves on her hands and then moving after Augustin without hesitation. A beat later, Thomas nodded.
Right.
And quickly followed, catching up with Bianca, who was admiring all the different colors of green around her. The light green ferns, the canopy of palms, and surrounded by the intense dark green leaves of the bushes as they passed the winding stem of a giant kapok tree. Thomas started asking questions while they continued. She touched leaves with her gloved hands, and looked around into the jungle as they went.
Do you really think we'll do big discoveries here?
Well, gorillas occupied parts around here for decades, and all that time scientists have shunned these jungles like a cockroach-infested castle. Look at all the discoveries that have been made in the past 5 years alone, like the giant tortoise, Calanoidus elephantopus, on the Galapagos Islands, thought extinct for 150 years. You can bet your life on it that these jungles hide secrets, and in this new age of discoveries, this is where we'll make ours. It won't be long before other scientists will come out here, and we're probably not even the first. But we're not going to make any discoveries talking about it. Keep your eyes open, Tom, and your mouth shut, unless you find something of interest. Sound like a plan?
Uncertain, Thomas looked down. Bianca shot him a quick look back over her shoulder. Augustin moved ahead of them while they slacked a bit.
Look, I'm sorry. I know the jungle is not your favourite location to do research, but you asked to go on this expedition with me, and I can use your expertise on birds. Your knowledge of them is almost second to none.
You're right. Thank you.
Coming back through the jungle, Augustin looked at the two of them, wanting to ask if everything was all right. But Bianca signaled him to keep silent, pointing up. Thomas also caught the signals, and they heard the birds calling.
Jerry's ant friend?
Not likely. They usually live further north of here. Probably an Amphitrap strigulatus or chestnut-winged hookbill.
I didn't know you two were bird watchers.
We're not. We're here to discover new species, not existing ones. Let's move on.
She quickly turned to Thomas as Augustin turned to continue.
You okay?
Yes, let's go.
With a quick upwards motion of his head, his eyes directed at Augustin, Thomas signaled him to move ahead. Bianca confirmed, nodding, and they moved on. As time passed while they moved on, they heard birds and saw them flying overhead in colorful formations. Some organized, some chaotic, playful. Green parrots, the blue opal-crowned tanager, yellow and red ones, the yellow-browed antbird, and black-neck red katinga. And not just birds, they saw a sloth moving along the trees. Bianca pointed him out, and both she and Thomas smiled, seeing this creature just hanging there upside down. Not much later, they also spotted a group of red howler monkeys, watching back at them with almost as much interest as they looked at the monkeys. But not long after that, it seemed the sounds of the animals disappeared behind them as they moved on. Hearing the howler monkeys and birds some distance back, but nothing ahead. Augustin was the first to realize this, and slightly unnerved, he stopped moving, looked up at the trees, and around him, looking for danger. The suspicion hit Thomas quickly. Bianca just took the moment to take in her surroundings. She spotted something of interest, and moved off while Thomas walked up to Augustin.
Gus, something wrong?
But before Augustin could answer, Bianca slowly, questioningly called out.
Tom, come take a look at this.
Thomas turned around and started to walk towards her, but Augustin kept his ears on the jungle ahead until he heard it. A low, soft growling. Thomas heard it too, and stopped moving, turning back towards Augustin. Again, a sound like the purring of a cat.
Jaguar?
Maybe.
They're not going to believe this. Look, guys, this species is definitely not extinct.
But Thomas and Augustin were distracted by the sounds from the jungle.
What do we do?
Augustin took his machete, ready to strike. Then, Trying to scare off anything that could be hiding in the bushes, he jumped forward, his arms wide, machete over his head. Making himself as big as he possibly could make himself. Leaves rustled and something moved away, quickly, but only a little bit further away. Augustin moved forward slowly, moving to the branches from where they heard the animal. And it revealed a dead animal. Sliced open, Thomas quickly turned around, covering his face from the smell.
Ugh.
Augustin recognizes the dead animal.
Sloth.
Augustin took a step closer, wanting to investigate the dead sloth further, but he knew the predator was still there, somewhere, and as he approached, terrified, Augustin looked up, and then the animal screamed. This caught Bianca's attention too, and she rose up onto her feet in an instant, looking around to see Thomas and Augustin backing away from the bushes slowly.
Definitely not a jag. So that's what.
What is it, guys?
We better move back to the boats now.
Augustin picked up pace, leading the way back. Quickly, Bianca took something from the bushes, putting it in a plastic bag and into her backpack, and quickly moved after Augustin and Thomas, back towards the boats.